Let's see. Is it showing? Hold on. All right, we'll be right back.
I'm in the city, yeah. I'm in the spot, in the vicinity. I'm the hottest up in the city, yeah. Really years. I studied the ones that was the realest, the illest, that invented that. Talking about griots, West African passages for the street stone. Adios mio, man, forget about the Afro-Latino who brought their traditions from Africa's West Central. Let's raise a toast to the ancestors of old. For the knowledge comes in the form of a griot, in the form of a griot.
All right. Welcome back to the Griots Podcast. I'll let my beautiful sister introduce herself. We'll introduce ourselves. We'll go through the formalities of the show, and then we will let our special guest introduce herself, and then we'll get into the discussion at hand.
Hey, yo, what up, good and wonderful people? Y'all know I'm hyped when I get all that extra, so I'm definitely excited to be here, hyped to be tapped in. I am a pharmacist. I'm the owner of ADH Pharmacy Consulting, and I'm also the chief executive of Silly Magazine.
Yes,
fresh off the press. Also a big community and literacy advocate. I love to be out and about in the community, meeting people, host book clubs, all the things to try to really get us to connect on that deeper level. You know what I'm saying? That some of us are missing in our lives. I try to create space for those topics and those discussions. So happy to be tapped in with the Griots today, my fellow homies. Ladarius, let the people know.
What's up, everybody? My name is Ladarius. I'm a father. I am a social media producer for a higher education institution. I'm a 3D print enthusiast. I'm a creator, a lifelong learner, avid reader, and a contributing writer to the S.4 magazine.
All right. My name is Kofi Piche. I'm a writer, author, ghostwriter, author and owner of Same Tree Different Branch Publishing Company, Same Tree Different Branch Media, Same Tree Different Branch Apparel. I'm also the founder and editor of S.4 magazine. I'm a lecturer, public speaker, advocate, a black I can't even give it an activist and a pan-Africanist, amongst other things. Right. So let's get into today. We are missing 1/4 of the Griots Podcast today. That is Shanathan Pallador. So shout out to Shanathan Pallador. His schedule was changed. Well, he will be back on the next regular schedule program, right? So let's get into today. So I'll be doing his segment today. I'll be doing the opening segment today for Sean, and then we'll go into the Griot, and then follow up by our brother Ladarius with the Black Invention segment. So for the opening segment, we always want to honor someone from the past or present, right? And so today we are going to honor, let me pull him up on the screen. Today we are going to honor John Henry Clark. This is the person that we're going to honor today. So in the opening segment, honoring Dr. John Henry Clark. Before we get into today's conversation, knowledge, health, and self, I wanted to take a few moments to honor one of our greatest teachers, scholars. Hold on one second. Let me mute. What's the name? Knowledge yourself. I want to take a few moments to honor one of our great teachers, scholars, writers, and historians, Dr. John Henry Clark. Dr. Clark dedicated much of his life to studying and teaching African and African American history. But what I appreciate most about Dr. Henry Clark is that he wasn't simply interested in history for the sake of remembering dates, names, and events. For Clark, understanding history was connected to understanding who you are. He challenged African people throughout the diaspora to study our history beyond slavery and colonialism, and to understand that our stories did not begin with our oppression. Dr. Henry Clark, and that is important today's conversation because we are talking about knowledge, health, and self. When we talk about knowledge and self, reading has to be a part of that conversation. Somebody had to write this book. Somebody had to preserve the information. Somebody had to challenge the stories we were taught. And then somebody has to be willing to sit down, open those books, read them, question them, research further, and continue reading. Dr. Clark was one of those people who spent a lifetime doing that work. And I think that especially important today because we have access to more information than probably any generation before us. But having access to information doesn't automatically means we have knowledge. We still have to read. We still have to study. We still have to think. So as we prepare to talk to Dr. Parrish Grady about the journey, about her journey, the books that influence her, when she begins gaining knowledge of self, her working on health, and her experience of becoming an author, I thought Dr. John Henry Clark was the perfect person to recognize. Before we can seriously ask, where are we going? We should know something about who we are, where we've been, and what have we already contributed to the world. Today, we honor Dr. John Henry Clark. So, Majuba Ibar to John Henry Clark. So, moving further along with the segment, we'll go into the griot segment real quick. A lot of people don't know what a griot and a griot is, so we have to keep reiterating this every episode, right? So what is a griot, right? Or a griot? Unique Western Africa griot or jelly professionally encompass many roles. Griots, pronounced griot, has been referred to as historians, storytellers, and there are no real English language, in the real English language that includes all their functions. A traditional griot could do everything from recounting history to composing music to teaching students to acting as a diplomat. They are genealogists, historians, spokespersons, ambassadors, musicians, teachers, warriors, interpreters, praise singers, masters of ceremonies, advisors, negotiators, and mediators. Not every griot does all those things, but all of those are examples and functions the griot professionally embodies. A griotis is pronounced grioti, is a female storyteller, and the grioti has been trained in the same way through the griotis tend to learn more from other women. So this is the griot segment, right? Because we always want to make sure that we let people know what a griot and what a griot is, and they serve in many functions, just not storytellers, because most people know the griot or the grioti as storytellers, but they are much more than storytellers. And most of us that's watching this program or will watch this program later on or on here right now serve as a griot and griotis in some way. Whether you're a historian, a spokesperson, an ambassador, you consider yourself a genealogist, a musician, a teacher, a storyteller, a praise singer, masters of ceremony, negotiator, mediator, or whatever, a writer. So some of us facilitate those roles already. So that concludes the segment of the griotis and griot segment. Now we'll go into the Black Invention segment by Ladarius, our brother Ladarius Denson, our fellow griot. Ladarius, you blacked out again, brother.
I blacked out again?
Yeah, you done blacked out again.
My bad, brother. Is it blacking out now?
Yeah, you still blacked out.
I don't know why I'm doing that. But we still gonna rock though, because I guess this is like a, I don't know how to say it, like a tribute to what's happening in the world right now in Gary with
Okay.
the blackout. But they
Mm.
still making it work. So we gonna make it work. So the person I'm highlighting today, and since we have Dr. Paris Grady on the podcast today, we're gonna highlight a woman in the medical field. Her name is Bessie Virginia Blunt. Oh, hold on. Bessie Virginia Blunt was a pioneering physical therapist, inventor, forensic expert, and Lee, hold on, my stuff is ain't working today. Bear with me, bear with me. Okay, here we go. Okay, so Bessie Virginia Blunt was a pioneering physical therapist, inventor, scientist, and forensic expert whose innovations helped people with disabilities regain independence. Born on November 24th, 1914, in Hickory, Virginia, Blunt overcame interruptions to her formal education to pursue nursing and physical therapy, eventually becoming one of the few Black physical therapists of her era. During World War II, Blunt worked with wounded veterans and recognized that conventional rehabilitation equipment often failed to meet their needs. She responded by inventing solutions of her own. Her most notable invention was the portable receptacle support, an electrically powered feeding device that allowed patients who cannot use their hands to feed themselves independently. She received a U.S. patent for the device in 1951, and the French government later purchased its patent rights for use in military hospitals. Blunt also invented a disposable cardboard vomiting basin and became the first Black woman featured on the television program The Big Idea to showcase her inventions. Later in life, she broke another barrier by becoming the first American woman admitted to study forensic document examination at Scotland Yard in London. Bessie Blunt's extraordinary life demonstrates that invention is not simply about creating technology. It is about identifying human problems and designing solutions that restore dignity, independence, and possibility.
There
Come
you
on
go. You
now.
back on. All right. Shout out to the sister. What? Give us the sister name again. The brilliant sister name again, Ladarius.
Her name is Bessie Virginia Blunt.
Okay. I'm definitely gonna have to
Bessie
look at it. That's what
Virginia
I like
Blunt.
about this podcast, and we keep reiterate this. We never know what when we get started on this podcast. We never know what each other has when it comes to the information. So we're always learning from each other doing this podcast, right? That's definitely somebody I'm definitely gonna further do some research
Hey.
on. So shout out to that sister as well. So um before we get into the discussion at hand and let our special guest introduce herself, let me run through this. All right. So Dr. Wade, oh man. Dr. Wade already put up this book right here. Not book, but the magazine, the SLA magazine. This is what our 7th issue. What is this? Our 7th issue?
It's the 8.
Uh
It's the 8.
okay, 8th issue.
When you
This
put
is
out so
our
many, you just forget. You forget.
You
yeah,
know?
this is our 8th issue right here. So please go check out the 8th issue. It is highlighting some of our youth in the magazine, right? There's so much propaganda that has been pushed against our youth. You know, they have the new term for our youth, you know, they're using the terminology YN, young nigga, right? And
Mm.
and there's so much propaganda that's being pushed against our Black youth, you know, far as the male and female. So in this edition, we are, highlighting, what I'm saying, there are more people that are contributing Black excellence, right? All of our youth is not in the street committing crimes. There are a lot of our youth that are excelling, what I'm saying, and there will be a better future for us. They're saying that, the future, our next generation is lost, but that is inaccurate, right? So go check out that uh um issue of that magazine. Also, real quick, if you don't have acting on your dreams and Lord, I'm saying acting on your, and what's so crazy about me saying acting on your dreams and your vision, there has been nobody's, that book came out a few years ago that we co-wrote, me, Dr. Ashley Wade, and Shanathan wrote, which is a great and phenomenal book. Great reviews from that book. There's been people that's been popping on the website, and I can see what they're viewing. So there, a lot of people been looking at that book. So that's why it just was in the subconscious. But if you don't have Your No Is My Biggest Blessing, please go out and get a copy of Your No Is My Biggest Blessing, written by myself, right? This book came out in June. I am very proud. Hold on, y'all. I'm very proud of this publication, right? This book has also received some great feedback as well, right? So appreciate those who went out and supported that project, as well as the SLA magazine and other projects that we have also put out, right? So now let's get into the discussion at hand. What everybody came for, right, is to have a intellectual discussion with our beautiful sister, Dr. Paris Grady. So, Dr. Paris Grady, could you please introduce yourself for the people who may not know who you are?
Okay. Can you all hear me? All right.
Yes.
Because, okay. So, name is Dr. Paris Grady. Thank you for the introduction. Also, thank you for bringing up John Henry Clark because that's someone I am starting to research a little bit more. So, I appreciate that. I am a naturopath. I have my doctorate in naturopathic medicine, continuing to define myself. So today, my definition will be artist, a writer, a poet, lifelong student, and also health educator. So that's me.
Am so happy on behalf of the Griots Podcast to welcome you to the show. I'm
Thank
so It's
you.
so neat how we met. It's so neat how we connected, and through the ISIS papers, through the
Yeah.
Pan African Connection bookstore interaction. It was so cool. And when I started talking to my friends, I was like, we need to check out Dr. Grady because she was talking that talk for real, and she's in healthcare.
Appreciate you.
So I was
Appreciate
like,
you.
this will be a good time to tap in because I've always, tried to figure out a good integration piece between what we do
Mm,
and what we do, and what brings us together. So I'm looking forward to, catching up with you, chatting with you, and getting in your head, and also sharing you with the people. You know what I'm saying? Because we have,
right.
um, a big literary community out there, and they like for people to come into themselves and pop their ish. So I can't wait to hear from you today.
Yay, I'm excited. And before we get started, I just want to say each one of you all inspire me greatly. I've checked everyone out and just the different avenues that each one of you have pursues. It just feels like an extension of myself. So I'm extremely blessed and I'm ready to get into this convo. I'm excited.
Same. So I don't know what happened to our people. I guess will come back to the show. Technical difficulties more than likely.
No, everybody
Um,
back in.
Everybody, okay,
Everybody.
because I can't see you.
Yeah,
I can't see
right.
y'all.
Yeah, I
Because
can't see
what I'm
anybody either.
what I'm doing. Hold on. Let me do this. What I'm doing is
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to, when people speak, I'm trying to put it on them. I'm trying to do something different. So when I get ready to do the edits now, it'll be a more better than just being on the widescreen. Everybody has a chance to speak. So in their own
Okay,
speaking
cool.
voice.
I like
So
it. I
Okay,
like it.
okay.
I
Mhm.
was just
I was
checking.
scared.
I
I
was
was
like,
like, does
for my
anyone hear
people.
Yeah,
me?
yeah,
Cool,
we
cool,
in
cool.
we in here, we in here. So when you
Right.
speak, I'll probably just put the camera directly on you, so
Cool.
everybody that's looking can see you. You know what I'm saying, and get the full experience of Doctor.
Okay.
You know, Doctor
Thank you,
Paris
Coach.
Grady
Because I
and
was
us
like,
as
hold on,
well.
where my people?
Yeah,
Where
we
the
in
people
I know
we
that's
in
right.
here.
But if
So
I
who
could
want?
start with the question,
Yes,
I'd like
yes,
to start with
yes.
a question.
Okay.
Okay, so Dr. Paris, I would love to know what was your journey like from like the traditional practice of medicine to the homeopathic side of medicine. Talk to us about what that journey looked like for you.
Woo. That's such a big question for me. So I'm not gonna lie. My how I got into medicine is very questionable. I think that there was this idea of like, okay, I make good grades, and I don't know if my art will be enough. This is just how I thought as a teenager. I don't
Hmm.
know if being an artist will be enough. And my teacher said that I'm smart enough to be a doctor. So I'm gonna be a doctor. And it was just that's just how I thought. I didn't there was no real intentional thought behind it. And so I went to an HBCU, Clark Atlanta, CAU, and I just had this thought like I'm just gonna be a doctor. But in the midst of thinking that, my true feelings was I don't really know if this is what I believe in. I don't really care to give people certain types of drugs. It's just not really in my personality. And it was a microbiologist, one of my professors, and I was working in his lab, and I was just expressing this to him, like I don't want to do this and that and this and that, but I think I had to be a doctor because I'm smart. So it was a really strange and narrow way of thinking of the world and possibility, but that's what I had. And the doctor was like, "Oh, you want to be a naturopath?" And I was like, "I think so. Like, what's that?" And he,
Mhm.
he had to explain it to me. And since then, I was like, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that." Because that
That's
sounds better
incredible.
than anything else. And it's interesting because honestly, I grew up knowing about Dr. Sebi, and loving the Left Eye documentary. It was one of my favorite documentaries. I would watch it
Okay.
and I would think it was so awesome. So, in hindsight, I think it all worked out how it was supposed to, but in the thought process of how I got here, it was just really simple. So,
I can appreciate that. And that's a good perspective to for the young people out there that may be watching. And because the idea is that we can help people but one way, and kids may think, well, it's a weird reason why I want to go, so maybe I shouldn't go. There's all these thoughts that go through people's heads. So I'm glad that you followed your passion, you followed
yeah,
through with that medical side, and still kept your artist self. You know what I'm saying? Still kept that part true to you, but explored the medical part and the homeopathic part, because I think
yes,
that is what aligns with our people now more than ever, but also very much in our past and our history. So I
yeah,
appreciate you being a good representation of like bringing those conversations to the forefront, with your peers and with the public about what that's like, which I'm sure we'll hear more about, but like what that's like, what you learn, and the possibilities of it, because you the expert, you the real expert.
thank
For
you.
real, especially for our
Yeah,
future. So thank you for sharing that.
no
Yes,
problem.
yes, yes, yes. Thank you for sharing that. I'll go next. My question would be is take us back to the beginning. Who is Parrish Grady before becoming Dr. Parrish Grady? And what experience helped shape the woman you are today?
Thank you so much for asking that. The reason I thank you for asking that is because I ain't gonna lie, being invited into a podcast space I feel so much more like I'm so much more than just Dr. Paris Grady. Dr. Paris Grady was just something that I did to feel an interest and to feel as if I was doing something with my life, and it just so happened to be a positive thing. But before it was Dr. Paris Grady, it was just Paris Grady. And she in the beginning was a person who was quiet, who did not really have language to express all the emotions and feelings. I was the youngest of four, and later I became an older sister. But for most of my life, I was the youngest of four, and the world just was scary to me. I didn't speak a lot, but the one thing that I continued to have was a pen, and I knew that I could write really, really well. I was always writing stories. I was always just creating, and I can draw really, really well. And that came specifically from my father's side of the family. They all had this natural ability to draw. I didn't have to take any art classes. All I had to do was just look at the world and reproduce from my perspective of what was happening. And those were my words in the beginning. So it's interesting how I just started speaking more like around 16 years old. But in the beginning, that's all I had. I had my art and I had my word. So, and I also had books. Which helps me build and continues to help me build language around what I believe, who I am, who I want to be. So that was the beginning and the bare bones of Paris. Yeah.
Okay. I definitely appreciate that. I didn't even know you was a writer
More
until
layered.
I actually, started getting on my journalistic ish and, started doing more, digging more into who you are. And I started because I didn't even know, we'll talk about that a little bit later about your book. I didn't even know you had a book out. And I was like, I will. And I wanted to try to contact you and see if you had any copies and possibly get a copy from you or wherever you direct me to get a copy from. I always try to patronize the author directly, which I'm still is, but I knew it wasn't going to arrive before the podcast because I just eventually realized that on Wednesday. She
That's
has a
okay.
book. She's a writer too. So, so we'll definitely talk about that a little bit later on.
Yeah.
Um, in the podcast, but I definitely wanted to I definitely thank you for sharing because I'm like I want to know who you were before Dr. Paris, before anybody, because people know you as Dr. Paris, but you have many layers, like I'm saying, that I've seen. You have so many different other talents, you know what I'm saying, besides being a doctor, right? So I want to know,
Right.
okay, who were you prior to, everybody knowing you as Dr. Paris, Grady. So thank you for sharing that,
Yeah.
with us. Uh,
Yeah.
it's on you, Ladarius. Oh, you had something else, Doc? I didn't mean to cut you out if you was finna say
Oh
something else.
no, no, I was just like, yeah, great. Like, thank you for saying
Okay.
all of these things.
Uh,
No, yeah, you
okay.
guys can move on.
Uh, it's on you, Ladarius.
So, Dr. Parrish, you mentioned you can draw, right? So, I want to know, as an artist,
Oh, I can't hear him. Can you all hear?
can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear him.
Can you
You
hear me
can't hear
now?
him? Yeah,
Oh
can you
no,
hear
I
us?
can't. I can hear you. And
What about you, Ladarius? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I can
Oh,
hear
this
I
Ladarius.
can hear Dr. Parrish too.
uh-oh.
but she says she
I don't
can't
know,
hear
something going
you.
wrong. Something happened the whole time. I don't know what's going on.
Hmm. Uh, that's do me one more favor, Ladarius. Pop out and then pop back in. Let's see if that'll fix.
All right.
All right. He's gonna pop out and then pop back in. and then
Okay.
hopefully he'll be able to
And he
answer
asked
your
the best
question.
question. Like Ladarius, he's so insightful. He be asking the best questions. So
Mm.
You
I'm
all
Yeah.
excited.
ask really great questions. Yeah, I mean,
Mm. Yeah.
I want to be able to hear them though.
I know
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah. That's how I go. We can hear him. I don't, I don't know, but he sure have.
Oh,
Maybe because he's not on his laptop today. He's normally on
Oh,
his
okay, yeah.
laptop today, but not on his laptop
yeah.
today.
But while we're waiting, I can expand on. So there was something else I did think about that I didn't say.
Go ahead.
Bare bones Paris. I was going to add the spiritualist part. Um,
Mhm.
that's something that is really a huge part of who I am and interwoven into everything that I do. So I just wanted to make sure I mix that in real quick.
Yes, yes. I
Yeah.
I caught that as well. Um, looking through your page, and we definitely gonna talk about that a little bit more, dig a little bit deep. You know what I'm saying, in that later on, within the program, there he goes right there. Let's see if this will work better for the brother now. All right. Ladarius, say something and let us know, Dr. Paris, if you can hear him or not.
Oh, did he say something?
Mic check one. Mic check
It's
two.
me. I
Can
think
you
I'm
hear
the
me?
issue. I
Yeah.
cannot hear him. So maybe
I
should
t-
I be the next one to pop out and come back
yeah,
in? Because my
pop
my
out.
sound has been a little okay.
Yeah,
I'll be
just
back.
pop out, pop back in.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right, she popped out. She should be back in just a moment. Y'all bear with us today. Everybody is having technical
See, now I can't hear
difficulties
y'all now.
today.
That's crazy.
Can you hear me, Dr. Ashley Wade?
Yeah.
Lord.
And I can hear
It's them
Ladarius.
phones. It's the best. The best thing when
Okay,
you
good
on
call.
StreamYard is the phone. I mean, is the laptops. The phones
That
are
makes
all
sense.
right, but that's where people have a lot of issues at with the connections, with the
Mhm.
speakers on the phone, the visuals on the phone. Um, say something now, Ladarius. You was on mute, Ladarius. Now he's
Oh, but
got a
I think
phone.
I could hear him that time.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
finna
He'll
pop
probably pop
back
back
in.
in.
But he
Oh,
said he
but now I
couldn't hear.
can't hear.
You can't hear us,
Oh no,
Dr. Ashley
I
Wade. You
can't
can
hear
still hear
y'all
me though,
now.
can't you?
I can still hear you. Yeah.
See, it's them phones. It's them phones.
Ah, I
Okay.
see.
Maybe I should
Can you
switch
hear me now?
devices.
Yes, go ahead. You
Yeah,
got time.
yeah, yeah.
I feel like you guys are saying great things to me that I cannot hear. I'm gonna try to switch. I'm gonna try to switch devices. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to
That's
get
good
on
to
this
know,
damn.
Kofi.
Where is your laptop at, Ladarius?
Dang. Hold
He
on.
still can't hear me. Oh, he need to get on his laptop too. Yeah, sorry
Mm-hmm.
for the technical difficulties on their end. They should be back in a few minutes. But like I said, the laptops is always the best um you know thing to be on when you on StreamYard. Like them cell phones is I don't know. It's just a lot of the aesthetics, the visual is always doesn't look as crispy as clear. The volume, through the speaker phones, it's not always quality sound coming through when you're speaking on them. So the laptops is always the best and the most professional look, that you'll get. You're doing a podcast. But
Makes
I
sense
know
to me.
sometimes, yeah, but I know sometimes people don't have, you know,
Mm-hmm.
they only just, they can only use what they got. So we understand that.
And
So
too, most people have it's so much more convenient to be like, "Oh, can I do this on my phone? Can I do this on my phone?" So I definitely get it. But yeah, I'm glad that because you know me, I want to have a technical difficulty too. So I'm glad that I'm like, it's up. So I'm patient with them, and I again appreciate y'all that are listening for being patient. Dr. Paris, she's so cool. I'm so glad we tapping in with her today. Like,
Yeah.
I'm already geeked out. I'm still geeking out, and I'm looking forward
Sure.
to.
Y'all are twins. I'm telling you, that's your twin. I'm telling you, she must be on.
So the more we talk
That's
to
she.
her, and the more I get to know her, I'm like,
Yeah, that's your twin. I'm telling you. Now
Back
watch
to
this.
you,
Go-
you guys.
You good?
hey.
You. I told you them laptops. Them laptops is the best. The best. Them
Okay.
phones.
Yeah, I
yeah.
had to do the laptop. That's
Yeah.
what ended
Yeah.
up happening.
Yes.
Whew,
So
I feel
okay.
great
So
about
now that we back, I guess we'll just move forward, and when Ladarius get back in, we'll allow him to ask this question if he's come back. But I don't want to continue to hold the show up. So Dr. Ashley Wade, we'll let you know you ask the next question, and
Absolutely.
we'll go from
I'm
there.
so excited. So what I'm excited to bring to the front about Dr. Paris is her reading bag. Okay. When I first met Dr. Paris online, I was getting ready to produce the most recent book club talking about the ISIS papers. And I hadn't read that book. And Dr. Paris commented on there. She was like, I read that book. I'm trying to tap in. I was like, oh, Dr. Paris came to the front already put on game as far as like books and stuff like that. So I want to know from you, Dr. Paris, what are, let's see, 3 or 4 of like your favorite top books that are like help shape your consciousness and help shape your transformation?
She is frozen now.
Oh no. This is our first time having issues like this, Kofi.
Like this ever is. I don't. She is frozen.
Hopefully she'll pop back in.
Yeah. Golly.
Because we can sure get in the weeds. I'm tonight. Ooh.
Yeah, and that what you asking, that was gonna be like one of my questions too. I wanted to know what was some of the, the books that influenced her and transformed her. Right.
And I know it's gonna be good. And I have a feeling that it's gonna be something that we all can tap into. And I have a feeling she's gonna be able to put us on some new game where we can be like, hold on, what is she talking about? So.
Yep. Because I'm book crazy. I've been ordering books left and right and going to stores. So,
And it also makes for good discussions and stuff like that, conversations overall, especially when you got that bag and you are definitely a lifelong learner.
Definitely there. Yeah. So hopefully she'll pop back in. Oh.
She probably trying her artist, like, let me figure this out.
Yeah.
Even Ladarius.
Yeah. I don't know why he ain't have his laptop out today. His laptop, shoot. Let me just go and get this phone popping on the phone.
Let me set my water then.
I don't know where you're going. What is this? Don't know what's going on. I can't see y'all, but I can hear y'all. Who was that? Was that Ladarius? Hold on, let me look at him. Yeah, this was Ladarius. Yeah. All right, let's let her back in. There she go.
I'm so sorry, you all. Everything is glitching. What is happening today?
It's okay. Welcome back.
Okay, hopefully we're gonna try this out.
Okay.
Different role.
It's given so far.
Okay.
Yeah, you good now. You
given.
good.
Okay. So I was telling you, did you hear my question?
No, as soon as you started asking the question, it was like black. So
okay. So I was telling the people how we met through the book club I had talking about the ISIS papers and how you had already tapped in and you was like, hey, I read that and I'm just looking for some people to tap in with and have discussions with. So I was telling the people you already came into my knowing on your book game. Like you already was like, oh, I'm in the weeds. I've been in the weeds. I'm trying to get y'all to catch up. So I want to know, like, what are your top maybe 3 or 4 books, maybe 5, that like shaped your understanding and your consciousness and your awareness, that transformed you from one side of Paris to the other side of Paris.
Okay, absolutely, absolutely. So, uh, whew. And it's funny where I was just sitting at, I had my whole stack ready to present. So now let me go. Think
Yes.
about what my stack had.
It's
So
okay,
one,
girl, grab your stack.
grab,
This is definitely a literary
let me grab my stack.
podcast. We believe in it. Yes. Grab that
Mm-hmm.
stack. You know, we love a book stack, huh, Kofi?
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Let's see what's in that
I,
book stack.
I just text Ladarius and told him to grab his laptop. So
Okay.
yeah, so
That's good. That'll
yeah.
probably save us
I
in the
had
long
to
Mm-hmm.
trying to transfer to a
Yes.
different location. I done left the most
Okay.
important thing, the books. Uh,
Yes.
okay. Whew. So I will start with Sacred Woman.
Okay.
Now, I've never gotten through all of Sacred Woman,
Okay.
but Sacred Woman was my introduction that Black people have a history to spirituality and medicine that goes way deeper than what I'll ever learn in school.
Hmm.
And there's a way to intermix both spirituality, nature, medicine, well being, food, everything, yoga practice. There's just so much in this book that I have attempted to go through a few times. I haven't been 100% successful, but I would just say Sacred Woman was a beautiful, like, even if you could get through the first couple of chapters and read what she has to say, and very well researched. I started here, first year medical school, and all I have found since then was the medicine and the research that is official or, peer reviewed. It just backs up everything our people been saying
Good
forever.
call. Good call.
So
Good
this
call.
was this was good for starting my medical journey. I would say spirituality wise, the ways of the Orisha. This one really actually just recentered everything that I knew or thought I knew about spirituality, through an African lens that was really, really important, coming out of college. And um, I was able to see myself in a lot of the different deities and uh, characters that were presented here, and then also start exploring just what else do we have to offer? Growing up and you're traditional with Christianity and those things. You some For me, I never knew that there was so much that we had for ourselves. So I would say that's number two. Um, I will say number three right now is Know Thyself of Naeem Akbar. I think I read this earlier this year or late last year. I think late last year. And Naeem Akbar, this brother, is just God sent. I never recognized how much our education shapes the things that we explore and the just how we look at the world. So understanding where I've been miseducated and trying to
Woo.
be intentional on how I want to educate others has just been so eye opening for me personally. And then any, meeny, miny, mo.
Keep
I would
going.
kind of concurrently like
Okay. This is
both
good.
jambalaya and the ISIS papers. ISIS papers. This is how me and Dr. Ashley Way we met, and how I met all of you all as well. And ISIS paper is pretty good to start to understand like how literal life can be and the power over words and the power over of the power that capitalism and how, our oppressors have over our thoughts, our actions, the way we play games, the way we speak to each other. Just a really good piece of text. I don't agree with 100% of what's in this book, but a good 85% is solid.
Okay.
And I just picked up Jambalaya because this again is very expansive when it comes to the women in spirituality, Black women in our
Deep.
practices. How much what we brought from Africa looks very much like how we praise today, but we just call it something different, or we make it seem as if certain aspects of what we used to do was like the devil or
Right,
demons.
right.
It's like, oh my God, we actually do this in church, or we actually dance this way, or so being able to see the parallels
Mm-hmm.
across time and generations, regardless of where we are, I think melanated people, we are always
Ooh.
centered, whether we know it or not. But the education piece will only make us stronger and more powerful. So those are my books that so far, from what I know, have like strengthened me as a woman.
Every one of those books that you just presented, except the Jambalaya book, I've read all those books that you read, and I introduced the Queen of Fours book. Ooh, man, probably 2014. I think I read her book. I was introduced to Queen of Four through this community I used to belong to. So I was introduced to her book. The other book that you held up, uh, about the Orishas. That was one of the books in particular. I don't agree with a lot of the stuff in that book because a lot we talk about synchronism. Like we no longer have to synchronize things. We know that back in the days, our ancestors had to synchronize Christianity with their tradition, or what they call African traditional religion, or what we refer to today as kimoyo, which most describe us. We use the terms African traditional religion. We use the terms African spirituality. Those terms we do not have agency over, so we use the word kimoyo. Um,
Mm.
um, that was my first introduction, was through the Yoruba culture in Nigeria, was the Orishas, and understanding the Orishas and African traditional religion, if that's what you call it, or African spirituality, if that's what you call it, or what we're referring to it as today as kimoyo. Um, those are some great books that you got to start off with, especially if you're trying to connect and understand who we are, what we did. And then you mentioned some things about um, being the things that you can coincide with that we actually do in the churches, we do in the mosque, we do in the synagogue, etc. There's a variations between some of the things that we do, that we brung here, but the things that they taught us through Christianity missionaries that came in. Those men, we know missionaries, that's their thing. They travel. So they travel far and abroad, and they set up schools. They set up schools and churches, right? And then they begin to convince our people that what we are doing is barbaric, it is savagery, you know what I'm saying, and it is demonic, right? So a lot of and then when you see some of the things that they say that are demonic, we are actually doing some of the same things within these same religious institutions that just call something else, and they may look a little bit different, but the meaning and the context behind why we doing this, it's the same thing that we was doing back in the motherland, right? So those are definitely, like I said, some of the book, Naeem Akbar, they are champions. Ladarius and Dr. Wade, I read his
Love
books
Dr. Akbar.
years ago as well. They love him. So we definitely appreciate you sharing, those books that actually transform your consciousness, because that's what book does. You know what I'm saying? Books not only inform you. That's a tagline that I got, and a shirt that I said I keep saying I'm gonna make, and I'm definitely gonna do it tonight. But
Go ahead
information,
with that
books
culture.
not only inform you, they transform you, right? Because they transform us. It transform, and books can transform our identity, right? It can transform our worldview, you know what I'm saying, our outlook, our perspective. So books carry so much, you know what I'm saying, that people neglect. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't finna read. I ain't reading. I hate when our people say that I ain't reading a book. Who finna read a book and not knowing exactly, the importance of reading, the importance of information, the importance of renewing your mind, the importance of, you know, not making the same mistakes that we keep making because we're not informed of what happened in the past, or
Word.
being informed on how we can move forward, what I'm saying, in the present, and not only in the present, but how can we move forward in the future, right? So again, we appreciate you for sharing your stacks of books that transform you into a new person, right? Um, we
Yeah.
have our brother Ladarius back. Ladarius, if you want to say something, open your camera. Go right ahead. She's waiting. If you could hear us, can you hear us, Ladarius? He probably can't even still hear us. He can't. Ladarius, can you hear us? Let me see something. And he on mute. He might be saying something. Let me unmute his mic. He might not even know he's muted. Let me see. His stuff is he done blocked out. So I don't know. So I'll just go into the next question.
Okay.
All right. So me looking at one of your, I was looking at a video, and you were saying the gut is the second brain. So can you explain gut/brain connection in a way to our audience, and so we can understand how and what happens in our gut that affects our mood, our thinking, our stress, and our overall mental well-being. And I'm glad that you're on, and I'm glad that I ran across that because of I'm learning so much about the gut. You know what I'm saying? So much about
Hello.
the gut. Yes, you are back. You are back.
Can you
So
Welcome
hear me
back.
now?
Yeah,
yes,
Yeah.
loud
we
and
can.
clear.
Oh my
Yes, we can hear
goodness.
you loud and clear.
Oh
We,
Yes.
my
we
goodness.
went through a
So
lot.
let me just get my question off before I bleep out again.
Well,
Okay.
all right. Well, I'll come back and reiterate my question later on. So keep what I said in mind, but I'll reiterate it again. Go ahead, Doc. Ladarius.
So my question is in the same vein of what Kofi was just saying. Is dealing with art, right? And art
Mm-hmm.
is connected to imagination. And I heard this quote: "Imagination is memory, but in the opposite direction." Right. So my question is, how has art influenced you in your field? Have you imagined a medicinal breakthrough or anything of that nature?
Ooh. Welcome to the show. Welcome in the chat.
Getting hot in here. No. Oh, okay. Arts. Me and arts. I had to break this down into parts because you asked such a strong question. Okay, me and art, how it informed myself. I will say, we start with the art that we do, whether we draw, whether we sculpt, but the biggest thing is to recognize there's art in everything. And matter of fact, everything that we live in, this simulation, is an art. Think about how math, science, astrology, everything is a system. The way people play sports, it's like once you start with one art and understanding the intention and the work that one has to put in to create something, you start having this appreciation for overall creation. Now, what does this have to do with medicine? What it has to do with medicine is specifically when I study naturopathic medicine, pharmaceuticals, everything is an art. And the what I'm studying is the original form of it when it comes to the medicinal side. What I try to study. Now, I'm not gonna say everything in medical school it still is a system, right? So I don't think that you always learn the bare bones of it, but you learn someone else's interpretation of it. Now, the things that I found interesting is how energy is stored in a lot of different trees, how energy is stored within our body. So it's not just that, oh, I'm studying medicine because I want to give this herb or this drug to somebody to make them feel better.
Speak a
You
word.
always have to ask the question, who is this person? Because one thing ain't gonna work for one person. This person energetically is this way, so maybe I shouldn't give them warming herbs if they already hot-headed. Or maybe oh, they have a problem with this specific pattern in their life. So let me throw this homeopathic at them, or let me throw this flower essence at them to see if I can shift the energy of thought, or the energy, the balancing energies inside the body. And all of that in itself is the art form. So, and when you asked about, have I thought about new creation? Always, every day. And if I'm not thinking, I'm not being. If I'm not looking at life as art, if I'm not creating, I cannot just sit here and brain rot forever. I could brain rot for about an hour or two. Okay, I'm scroll. I'm gonna do everything that the humans do these days. But there has to be a book. There has to be a paintbrush. There has to be something, because we are made in the image of a creator. Now he or she is that some type of creator? I believe in that, and I believe that as a manifestation of that, it is our duty to figure out how to create in any aspect or any field, wherever you are in the world. So that is how I feel like art and medicine has coincided, and actually is interesting because the reason why I'm landed more in the Kemetic / ancient Egyptian kind of world. I don't subscribe to just one thing. I think there's truth in everything. But I've landed here because they believe that from the beginning, that art is the same as nature, is the same as medicine, is the same as, spiritual. It's all the same, and one does not exist without the other. And that is where I am strengthening myself. And I don't want anyone to ever just think, oh, that's just the doctor. No, I it's bigger than that. That's a piece. And I think we all need a lot of these pieces within ourselves regardless. So I go into a lot there, but that's the best way I can answer your question.
So 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 my next question would be, it's about guardrails. Like, how do you draw the line if you're being too creative or too artistic? So an example would be, you say everything is art, so an atomic bomb is art. You understand what I'm saying? Atomic bomb is art. We could say plastic surgery, BBL is art. Like, how do you draw that line between this is destructive, or we could be pushing that line to, are we trying to live forever? You got Elon Musk out here creating, well, now they creating robots. They trying to download your brain, your consciousness, and put it in a robot so you can live forever. You see what I'm saying? So, like, how do you, as a doctor, or it could be, it could be a Eurocentric mindset versus Afrocentric mindset. I don't know. But, like, how do you draw that line between, okay, maybe I'm being a little too ambitious, or I'm being too artistic? Like, this can be destructive. So, like, say, for instance, a black man, I forgot his name, but um, he was a chemist. He created the solution where you can make the meat last longer. Like, he's the reason why meat is red. Like, while ground beef is red, he created that. But I'm pretty sure he ain't know the causes of that. Too much salt. You see what I'm saying? So,
I love this question. Oh, I would say this gonna sound kind of bad, but I'm gonna try to bring it back around the best I can. I don't think it's one person's my I don't think it's my responsibility. And this is why I say that. The way I see the world is the way I see the world, but I believe in balance. I believe in the my odds. Okay, a lot of the things that we're seeing in this world that is unnatural, that is was just a good way to make some money. It. It doesn't flow with the laws of nature. And in my belief, it's all an art, right? So the laws of nature, you have to be able to connect it all together. If something ain't connecting, and it's not surviving. Right now, we're in an age where for the longest we've been able to live with unnatural foods. Unfortunately, all these foods are being recalled. So now what do we have to do? We got to go backward. Now we gotta implement a little Sankofa. We gotta go back and get it right. So right now, everybody wants to farm. Okay, or oh, we all feel a certain type of way about war or about the way. But if you look at history, it either gonna cancel itself out because it's not viable with life, or it's just going to collapse. It somehow is going to collapse when it's not viable with the world. So the best thing I try to see is to be in harmony with that. Okay, so what I mean by that, if I'm thinking of creating something and it's going against the laws of nature or going against ways to better the earth, to better people, to better humanity, it may work for a little second, but I imagine that universal karma is not it can't sustain itself. And we're seeing it everywhere. Everybody's mad right now in this universe, and so it has to come to a head. And
Mm.
see, the best thing I can do is to use my brain to do what I
Hmm.
can do. To me, it's all the same thing. To other people, but as long as I make sure the nature is taken care of, that my body is taken care of, that to the best of my ability, I'm being a good person. That those This is just kind of nuanced. So I hope that kind of answers, but
No, no, no. It answered the question. It's just we talk about Dr. Naeem Akbar in his book Know Thyself. In that same book, he talked about how technology is supposed to respect nature, right? And then he also said, ever since the Western world has created more destruction with their creation of technology. So, like, say for instance, a car,
hmm
it burn gas, you polluting the air. It's all about productivity. How fast can I get something done? So people like shy away from taking their time.
right,
Oh, it's going. Oh, if you ride a bicycle to work, but if I can get in the car and use gas, fossil fuels, and cause climate change, all this other stuff, then
right,
so be it. So I definitely see what you're saying.
yeah. And
Definitely see.
I will add that this is why I believe more people out with more perspectives should be in science. We should be in science way more than we are, but because of the way we are educated and the lens in which we learn things, we're discouraged from that. But
Mhm.
actually, because you're asking the question, I want to give you a shout out because I went and bought this book yesterday that you
Hey,
recommended, and so far,
hey.
like the best book I've ever found in my life. And I said, this may just have been my breakthrough. And one thing that Shonda Prescott Weinstein was she actually talks about this in so many different aspects. I actually don't even remember where I was going when I held that book up. But just altogether, I feel like everything is just going to have to balance out. I think we have to be put into spaces. That's what I was going to say. If I had this book
Mm-hmm.
and I learned from this lens, the edge of time space, I would have been a
She a black
physicist.
woman too.
Black woman, I would have been a physicist. But
Right.
because there's not enough of us learning the sciences and teaching it back to ourselves in a way that we can understand it,
And she combined all the art too. She got poetry, physics, quantum
poetry,
physics. Right.
rappers, and now it's like, okay, and one thing she says is that we allow the wrong people to come to the conclusions for us. You got these
Mm.
scientists who are making science for the sake of upholding certain structures. Yeah, the things may be true, the science may be accurate, but that doesn't mean it's good for us. So, I think what you all do, and what I try to continue to do, is do my own work, the best way I can. and hopefully it balances itself out and I get good karma for it. And
Exactly.
if I'm not doing something well, the universe will correct me. I'm sure of it.
And what we're talking about right now is we're talking about, like what you said earlier. We're talking about Eurocentric mindset versus an Afrocentric mindset. So when we look at a Eurocentric mindset, or we study European culture, they have always been in conflict with nature, right? This is why they are doing the things that they are doing and destroying nature, because they are in conflict with it, because they don't understand you. And then when they teach us that we are outside of nature, right? When you listen to if you study African cosmology, she mentioned Kemetic, which is the Kemetu. They call themselves the Kemetu of the Remich. The Remich culture, you listen to their cosmology, they tell you that we are nature. We are a part of nature. We're not separated from nature. We're not separated from the creator. The creator is nature. But we have been taught that there is a creator, and the creator is outside of his creation, which is false. This is false when we study African cosmology, right? So they are always in conflict with it. And we're being taught through their lenses that we are not a part of nature. They won't tell you that when you look at Kemet, and you look at King Zoser, you look at Imhotep. King Zoser was the Nesut Biti, which is the king, the dual king of Upper and Lower Egypt, Tai Mahu and Tai Shaimu, or the unification of Egypt, which is called Tai Seti, right? So they talk about, how how they started building, right? King Zoser built the first structure, the first step pyramid. But you know how they learned how to build with mud brick, and then they went to lime. They look at the anteaters. They looked at the ants. They learned from things in nature on how to build. When they went out and hunted, they looked at how the lion and the hyena hunted and protected them. So we looked at things in nature, but we have been taught that we are above nature when we are a part of nature. We have been taught that we are separate from nature when we are nature itself. You're right. And you look, and she talks about energy, right? You have immovable and movable energy. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be transformed from one state to the next, right? So the tree lives, right? That's why before we chopped the tree down or did certain things to an animal, we will always invoke and pray and do certain things, because energy has to be transferred to another different state. So we understand that this is also a living thing. Even though it's not movable, it's a movable energy, right? It lives. It is a part of us. We is not separate. So that's what, just going back into the thing, what I'm saying, we're talking about Eurocentric mindset versus an Afrocentric mindset. But we do have to do things. We have to start teaching informing ourselves, and then teaching our kids, because our kids are being taught lies in the school's institution. They're being taught they've been taught the perspective of those who have oppressed our ancestors, right? So we're learning things through their perspective on how they understand through their worldview and through their lens, right? So they believe that they are not a part of nature. They believe that the woman is inferior and the man is superior, right? They believe that God is outside of his creation. They believe that they are superior to nature. They are separate from nature, right? So until we start informing ourselves and start building institutions that reflect our worldview, our perspective, right, we're going to continue to make these mistakes, you know what I'm saying, that's being made, you know what I'm saying, because we believe a lot of these things that's going on is good, but it's in conflict with nature. It's destroying nature. It is destroying us, So I'll leave it there.
You said it. I'm like, yep, that was it. That's what I meant. You said it.
I'm about to get the organ out. You know how when they start getting good, the organ, somebody come on the organ just at the right time.
Man, okay. Yeah. You needed all that. Period.
We're totally adding it up for real. And these are again the things that I'm glad that our listeners can enjoy, and that we can enjoy as we elevate our minds. You know what I'm saying? Because that is a lot of transformation, elevating your mind, changing your mind, learning new things or learning our history and allowing that to open our mind. And I think that's so important for us, especially those of us in medicine, because the closed mind is how we got here. It's how we get into that dark side that Ladarius was talking about with medications and those types of therapy, chemotherapy, those things that are presented like they're healers and cures, but it don't take much to see that it's not, because you need it all the time. It doesn't fix anything. I'm talking about medication specifically. And through consciousness and learning and reading, I've learned to do better. They say when you know better, you do better. So my question to you, Dr. Paris, is what can we do better? And how have you seen our consciousness and health intersect? Like how do those things grow together? Can you see ourselves becoming more conscious? That mean in that way we are becoming more healthy? Like what does that intersection look like?
You guys are just like the best people ever. Hold on, because this is actually a topic that I would have loved to research. I've been thinking about this. I continue to think about this. I'm gonna give my best shot at an answer. I do think that the spirit part has to be there first, and unfortunately. I think that we are a little skewed in that viewpoint, and not saying that you have to subscribe to anything specific. Subscribe to what you want to subscribe to, and and I definitely believe that you do need to understand your history, understand where things are coming from, and not just what was told to you. Go and find, information. And the reason I'm saying those parts of consciousness, awareness, presence are important is because I'm still on my own health journey. Okay, like I went to school, it ain't got nothing to do with what I do on my day to day. Sometimes I still eat a Cheeto and this and that, but what I've learned, what I've learned through uh, about myself is that a lot of the changes, the conscious changes that I've made had nothing to do with what I learned in school. It's easy to tell somebody else what to do. Okay, I'll be like, yeah, you need to drink some water. Okay, you need to put turmeric or what. But it was, that stuff is easy. That's just like spitting stuff out at a regular job. You know what you got to say, but the why and why, like that is continues to be my journey as a human being. Like, well, why do I want this for myself? Why do I want health for myself? Why do I want health for others? Why do I want my children to believe a certain type of thing? Now I need to understand what we've been through, and now I need to understand more about life and the way the world works, manifestation, speaking, affirmation. You need to have that spiritual and that conscious piece to even make a decision that you want to change, because otherwise you just change it because someone told you had to. I'm not about to lose weight because the doctor said that my BMI is too high. That's just too superficial for me. I'm like, what's the real reason? And what's the real reason that I want to eat these vegetables? Or is it just because y'all say it got vitamin K in it? Like, to me, those reasons are a little too superficial to me. When I started reading Layla Africa and those going to food, those type of people, and I was like, whoa, well, that changes the context. So yeah, I do think that the spirit and the consciousness has to come first. Understand our history has to come first. And honestly, I think the rest just naturally follows. When a person is spiritually aligned, it's more easy to help them make health changes than to just throw some things at them and say good luck. Like, what are you supposed to do with that? You want me to change my whole lifestyle after doing
This is good.
it's hard, and I'm still trying to navigate it. I'm at the beginning of my career, but I'm like, the medicine, the education, the medical school, that is just the smallest part of it. They make it seem like that's the hardest part. Yeah, to some, but the hardest part is to really make the impact. And I'm realizing that education, being on places here where I could just hold up my books and educate or rechange the lens, and I don't know, just do those pieces, keep myself spiritually grounded. I think that helps more than just being a dictator and telling people what they can and cannot do. Like they need reason, they need,
Mm.
a spiritual
This is
connection.
good.
So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
how I feel about
So
that.
so with the reasoning, right? I think we're talking about nourishing melanin, right?
Yeah.
I think the biggest reason is you are melanated, so you should learn. It should be mandatory for you to learn how to nourish your body, melanin. So what's good for Europeans, Westerners is not good for us. You understand what I'm saying? So sometimes I can get frustrated when somebody asks me, well, why are you not eating meat? Well, listen. You see what I'm saying? So it's like once you're aware, once you know what they do to the food, or if you look at in today's time, everything is getting callbacks. You should something should trigger in your mind. Something should trigger in your mind. Hey, maybe
Oh
we shouldn't have
yes.
eaten this in the first place. Exactly. If Burger King selling you 10 nuggets for $2, something ain't right. Something has to be lab grown. Then you have to
Yeah.
ask yourself, why? Well, why would a human being use cancer cell cultures to print lab grown meat? Why? Why?
Such a great point, Ladarius.
Why? Is
I'm
it for
here
your
for the
health or
lab.
is it for greed,
Damn, I didn't even
profit?
think about that.
See, but the problem is
Mm-hmm.
though, you got you 100% right. But you can have and we talked about this in book club. You can understand something and have the intuition for it, but don't have the power behind it to make a change because we as a
Mm.
people we learned that some like this is what's given to us and we just take it as it is. And if they're gonna poison the rice, we still got to eat that rice. So, and I think that that piece of like what you said that what's good for them, that's one. What's good for someone else don't is not good for you. Period. Like even if amongst black people, amongst different races, what's good for someone else may not be good for you. But then you have to learn the power that you have within yourself to make the changes. And even in ISIS paper, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing talked about that. Like we are so used to just kind of just getting what we could get. And I think the biggest thing I learned through literature is the real power that's inside, like
Ooh.
I can grow my
Ooh.
own food. I started a garden just off that. Like, I do have control. I don't have to just, and if I can change this part of how I eat, or that I can
Mm.
change my mind. If I go into the gym every day, I just started my gym journey. I gained 20 pounds during med school. That med school, being at a naturopathic school did not make me naturopathic. I got to get up
Mm.
there, work myself out, realize, well, if I do this, then I may be able to think clearer. And I may be able to control what I can control in my life better if I have a clearer mind. If I like
Mm.
food, I had to have a deeper why than just knowing that it was bad. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yeah.
So, but whatever what you said, 100%, 100%.
Y'all got deep in the weeds on that.
Yep.
I'm here for that. And sun, to your point, in nature, like to Laderek's point of really activating that melanin piece, like getting in the sun means something totally different when we do it. So,
Yeah,
like, I'm glad that we're having the conversations on what we can do. Because if you ask the regular healthcare professional, they're gonna tell you a few things. Take your meds, do this, do that. They're not gonna tell you you need sun every day. They may or may not. They may say take this high dose vitamin D. Your vitamin D is low.
that's
Instead
it.
of encouraging you to change your lifestyle. But to your point that you said that was so important, Dr. Parrish, you said you got to have your why. You got to know that you're powerful. Okay, so my life is important. So that's why I need to take care of myself. Okay, my ideas are important. That's why I need a clear mind so I can think and I can learn. So putting those together like that can inspire you to say, you know what, today I would have that, but I'm gonna make this choice, or I'm gonna drink spring water. Like those certain things that we can do to just create that space. to have a clear mind. You know what I'm saying? And even in
Yeah.
the sun, you're in nature, you're gonna reflect in some way, somehow, if you're paying attention, that could good for the soul. So
And
so many ways
it's
we can take care of
So
ourselves in
so
a different way. Mm-hmm.
so what if you like? We all know the power of propaganda or narrative. So like, say if you come up with a great idea and somebody asks you how you came up with that, watermelon. I was in the sun for 6 hours a day. That's how I came up with that idea.
Facts, facts,
I
facts. The
had to,
sun was
I had to
working on me.
prepare myself to receive the energy from the sun, and the sun gave me the idea. You know what I'm saying? So that's gonna be my response from now on.
That's really hot. The
because
sun communicated.
everything in nature, like we are a part of the nature. The more we can be a part of that, eat the things that nature provides, get the sun that all those things within balance. Yeah, I do think that being it with in alignment with creation would just naturally kind of. That's just me though.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me though.
Okay. Let's go back to the question about the gut. You said that the gut is the second brain.
Perfect
Can you
timing.
explain the gut slash brain connection in a way our audience can understand? How? Hold on. Ladarius, can you mute your mic, Ladarius?
Yes, sir.
All right. How, again,
Yeah, and I was thinking too. I was like, science question. Okay, best way. I'm gonna just do it in the most simplistic terms for how I like to think about the gut brain axis. Um, One, when we eat food, what happens? There are certain bacteria and things, the microbiome that is throughout our body is just amazing. And if you ever heard of the quote, as above, so below,
so below. Mm-hmm.
yep, as within, so without, how the
Mm-hmm.
microcosm affects the macrocosm. If you study microbiology, it really opens you to this whole concept. But okay, back to it. But we have a microbiome, and a lot of the times when we are breaking down food, it is actually producing neurotransmitters that go to your brain. Okay, because the brain is in connection with the entire body, as we know. So once the brain gets a signal from wherever it gets its signal from, whether it's the neurotransmitters being created or whatever, we are able to be more in balance. And also, as you're breaking food down, as it's going, as it's absorbing into the body, you are getting certain nutrients in your body, which will also affect what your brain decides to do. And the reason that I bring up microbiome in particular is because, yeah, one, it's in the intestines, it's everywhere, it's in the mouth, it's everywhere, it's on the skin, but with the connection to keeping the microbiome just in balance is that, of course, now we know that it can affect what is created in our brain, but there's certain stress triggers where you ever feel stressed out and all of a sudden your gut ain't feeling right, or like, or the and what will happen is, if the environment isn't viable for certain bacteria, it will, the whole microbiome will change. So if I'm overly stressed out, there's some bacteria that will say peace and will leave and will leave you stranded till you get yourself back together, and another uh, group of bacteria will populate, and then you start having what they call as dysbiosis, and that's when you start having, certain bacterial overgrowths that you don't want, or certain fungal overgrowths that you don't want. So um, balancing the microbiome eating good certain foods, if you're able to, yogurts or whatever. There, just keeping your bacteria, the microbiome in balance can help you even in your brain health in your day-to-day life. So that's the best way I can kind of explain the gut brain axis and how that's important and how that works together. I bet you a better answer will pop up later tonight when I'm sleeping. Like, oh, I forgot to say that.
Mhm.
But that's what I got for right now. That's what I got for right now.
But also too, your digital biome. So you said neurotransmitter. Like one of your neurotransmitters is dopamine.
Yes.
And right now, or like last week, I think Meta just got sued and they have to pay $17.2 billion for kids being addicted to Instagram or to social media. So that just lets you know how powerful neurotransmitters are, how powerful dopamine is when you doom scrolling, you just scrolling for hours. And that blue light on the back of that phone is not good for you as well. So that can affect your uh, microbiome as well. So just let the people know how powerful neurotransmitters are.
Yeah, I mean, I like what you were starting to talk about with dopamine. Well, one, we know we got like epinephrine, that kind of,
Mm-hmm.
that fight or flight one. You have dopamine, and that's pretty much that reward system, right? And they're coming up with all this research. I like that you brought that up. All this research on, because we live in a world of instant gratification. You can get anything whenever you want. You can press buttons and certain things happen in your life. It comes so easy. But what happens is we become less connected with, I want to say spirit. That's just the word I'm going to use, because the smallest things, a lot of people can't sit still no more and can't listen to their thoughts no more, because what is the reward in that? If I can hear a ding every time I press a button, every time I play a game, and I can scroll and laugh, there's certain things that just come so easy to us these days. And then you have this overload in your system. So the little small things, like I can sit here and read. A lot of people and kids, a lot of people just can't do that no more. I can sit here and meditate. That's hard for people
Mm.
to do that because there's no satisfaction in it. So the biggest thing when it comes to, thinking about neurotransmitters, dopamine, reward systems, challenge yourself to sit at the table and eat your food without looking at your phone. I had to start doing that, so I can actually enjoy the food instead of just being like, ha ha, ha. Like I don't even know what the food tastes like because I'm so busy occupied over here, and we're messing up. We're messing
Mm-hmm.
up the things that we're supposed to enjoy in life with these superficial instant gratification pieces. So I think about that when I think about the reward system. How just cutting ourselves off can be helpful. There's other ways, the video games. Actually, there's research, and I've seen doctors tell a kid who had mental impairment, like an autism, or get them off that video game and see what happened. And those same children go from very impaired to now they're making straight A's. Okay. Like, it's like I don't want to just make claims out there. And like, I'm gonna just say this is a disclaimer. These are just experiences. I'm not trying to say nothing. But what I am saying is we need to challenge ourselves to have balance and to tap out, because a whole system is responding to it. Our whole system is always on overdrive. If we don't know how to relax, when we're always watching, imagine if you're scrolling and your body is always responding to everything that you're seeing. Now people can't sleep at night because they don't know how to get back into the relax. You see how it all kind of just it affects everything. And microbiome and the creation of those neurotransmitters, they have a lot to do with the balance that we feel. But what we consume can change whether they want to be in our body or not too. They're like, we ain't dealing with this. This ain't viable for us. You stressed out, you hyped up all the time. Yeah, no. So understanding microbiology as a part of that system, how the microcosm affects the macrocosm, and vice versa, is a big part of what I'm currently studying. Yeah.
And if I could, thank you so much. I was over here all the way overwhelmed by what y'all was saying, writing stuff down because y'all are really in the weeds there, especially Doctor talking about the gut and how important it is. And then Ladarius hopping in with that neurotransmitter piece in relation to the gut. That is real, especially in the brain where you have serotonin and
Serotonin.
other neurotransmitters. That's how the drug companies use those to manipulate the brain and help you have good chemistry in your brain, where you could just take care of your gut and maybe have better chemistry in your brain, so you're not depressed, you're not whatever that people experience. But I do want to make a recommendation. I've never done this before on our podcast, but in support of what Dr. Paris was saying about gut health, there is a probiotic that was recommended to me by a Black physician. Have you heard of this before? Visbiome.
I have
Visbiome.
not.
I'm gonna put it in the chat. It's GI Care high. It's a high potency probiotic, and I'm only recommending this or saying or introducing this because even what we consume physically with the food, sometimes our body does need help breaking down the extra chemical or whatever is in there that may be taking us all out of here with
Yeah.
the chemicals that they use to manipulate. So I just wanted that this conversation talking about the gut made me think about this right here. It's Bisbee. I'm gonna put it in the chat so you can check it out and see what you may be interested
Yeah, I
in.
want to definitely check it out because I'm a person that has my entire life has always had something going on with my gut.
Mm.
My weight fluctuate up and down, like far as like me being hungry, me not being hungry, me not using it. I've always had an irregular bowel movement. I don't care how I eat, I'm always bloated. You know what I'm saying? Even when I was a lacto-ovo vegan, you know what I'm saying? Me still trying to, I just always had problems with my gut. Even waking up, I don't eat breakfast because when I wake up, I can go to bed starving. I can wake up, I don't eat breakfast because my stomach feels funny when I wake up in the morning. So I just, I was glad that I looked on there and I seen. I've been researching a lot of things that's dealing with the starting to see a lot of things that affecting a lot of the way that we think. You know what I'm
Oh
saying? The
yeah.
way that we feel. You know what I'm saying? And our health has a lot to do with what we're actually putting into our gut. You know what I'm saying? So
Now,
I'm
one
glad that
quick addition to what you just said, real quick. It's funny you say that. I just read an article, and they found research that if a mother in the midst of being pregnant or before, and she is stressed out, either before having a baby or postpartum, it can affect the baby's gut health i-
So
in later
interesting.
life. So please, mothers out there, keep that stress level low for them because it will create generational problems. Just because the microbiome will be messed up for that baby, just as well as it was messed up for her because of that stress. So
Thank you
I
for
just want to
sharing
throw
that.
that
That's
out
good.
there. Yeah,
Don't they say death starts in the gut? Is that true or false?
I think it can. I don't want to say 100% yes or no, but I definitely think it can. Yeah.
okay. All right. So we are approaching an hour and a half. Um, we want to be, you know, respectful of the time. So we're not gonna be able to get all of the questions, Doctor Paris, to you because we want a respectful time. We normally do an hour and a half, no longer than 2 hours. So we're arriving to the hour and 33-minute mark. So what we'll do is, I guess we'll let one more question go, and then we'll go into we have one segment left, which is the women's segment. And I want to make sure that Dr. Ashley Wade get her proper time and just do that she need to inform us on my favorite segment of the podcast, which is the woman segment. So if anybody else has one more question for the doctor before we go into the last segment, Ladarius, do you have another question?
So this is like a future-esque type question. My question is, when your life is all said and done, what do you want your impact to be in your field?
Hmm. In my field, I have no idea. But in the world, I just want to spread knowledge. I want to. I took the sacrifice, got them student loans out. So what I can do, I want to make sure that I can give the most I can give to people, whether it looks like hands-on practice or not. I'm still deciding for myself what that looks like, but I think I just want my impact to be knowledge, arts, interweaving spirituality with nature, with and continue to do the work that a lot of our people that we've read and that they've tried to push out. I think I land in wanting to continue that work. It feels important to me, and I want to publish more. I want to publish more books. I want to make or create some type of work that can be inspiring to others, just as my big stack has once inspired me and allowed me to contribute what I want to contribute. So, but as far as medicine goes, I'm here. I'm gonna see what happens with that. And I'm gonna continue to do my own research. So I can help people the best way that I know how to do. So that's where I am.
Flowers in the
Dang,
chat for Dr. Flowers in the chat.
yeah,
Hand claps
yeah.
off for Dr.
I
Paris.
like, yeah, I like the way that you said spread knowledge. 2013, I made a choice, and that choice was I wanted to spread knowledge. I wanted to inform as many people as possible. I want to invest more into my mind than into clothes, shoes, jewelry, and cars. Those were the things that I was interested in. Even though I still like driving a nice car, I still like dressing nice, but that ain't where my priorities are anymore. It was investing in my mind and being able to convey the information out to the people as well, which that is teaching myself twice. I want to be able to teach myself twice, because when you're reading and you're informing and you start to convey information, now you're teaching twice. You're teaching once to the people who are listening. Now you're teaching yourself again, reiterating the things that you also learned by conveying. So you're teaching and you're also learning at the same time. So I appreciate what you said about you want to just be able to spread knowledge, you know what I'm saying, and you want to be able to continue to research, and that's the most important thing, is to in order to to do those things, we have to research, but we also have to verify. We have to understand what research is. Research is not going on Google or Wikipedia for an hour reading something, then coming back and elaborating that you're versed in a subject matter for only reading for an hour or 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? A quick fix just to get something, just to have a conversation here. So, we have to understand what research methodology is. And once we understand what research methodology is, because we can research all day, but if we don't understand the methodology behind the research, then we can be just like anybody else and giving out misinformation that might not be true. So we have to understand how to verify. And then when we research, we have to research, you know what I'm saying, on a playing field, meaning that I can't research I'm a Pan-Africanist, I'm a Black nationalist, but I still have to read things that's not of a Pan-Africanist. So I have things that I've read about Arab culture and what they say about Africans, because when you read about West Africa in the earliest stages, a lot of the writings don't come from the West Africans themselves. It comes from the Arabs who invaded West Africa, Ghana, Guinea-Bissau, Senegal, all these other different places. So that is the literature. So we have, so I can't go, I can't use my bias. So I have to read from a playing field. I can't be researching something to validate my own bias because I believe in a certain things. I have to be able to understand something far as who writing the book, who researched this, how they arrived to their conclusion. You know what I'm saying? Both sides of the coins, the opposite position of what I preferly believe in, a consensus. What is the consensus saying? So there's so many different factors that goes into research, but I just wanted to throw that out there for the listening audience who's listening now and may be able to listen later. When it comes to research, it's more than just Googling something for an hour, you know what I'm saying, and thinking that you're versed in the subject matter, and that's all I wanted to say about that again. But I definitely commend you, Doctor, for continuing to be a servant, you know what I'm saying, to the people, you know what I'm saying, far as in the medical field, as far as investing in your mind to share what you know, to wake up some of our people to, to make better choices for as, their own self, their own well-being, you know what I'm saying, their community, what they're putting into their mind, because we talk about health, but having a healthy mind is also important a process as well. So it's just important. What you put in your body is just as important as what you put into your mind, or what I like to call your mind filing cabinet. What is you filing in that mind filing cabinet, right? So I definitely appreciate you
Thank you.
for coming on the program.
Can we get the
Hold
hand
on.
clap,
I
Sophie?
also like to add.
Okay, go ahead.
We love looking forward to learning with you. You understand?
Yes.
Yes. We would definitely love for you to come back on, when you got some time. You just put me so much in the mind of Dr. Ashley Wade. Like, I love Dr. Ashley Wade to death. That's my sister. Now y'all
They
are
got the same
20. I
energy.
don't know. They got the same energy, man. I'm telling you, man. They 20.
Yes.
They is 20 all the way around. You know what I'm saying? So
And the neat part is
personality the
I've been
same.
looking to work with somebody, to work with a provider like you. So ain't no telling. I mean, and we already giving soul sisters, so it really ain't no telling what we can create and do and build to help
Yes.
shape the psyche of whatever we create. So stay tuned, good people.
I
Stay
love
tuned.
that. I love that.
Let's give a round of hand applause for Dr.
Should.
Paris Grady. All right. So before we end the program, we want to go into the last segment, which is the woman segment, which is my most important. I mean, I feel like it's the most important segment of the program is the woman section. We always want to highlight, a woman to give them their just due, because we know we're living in a male chauvinistic world where they say this is a man's world. A man's the head of the household. God is above man, and man is above woman. So, which is incorrect. So,
The
I
woman's
just
world.
always, yes. So I always
Black
want to,
women world.
yes, give them their just due, So we'll turn it over to you, to Dr. Ashley Wade.
Okay, good people. I'm so excited to share some information today. Shout out to Dr. Paris for bringing forth all her good energies, especially related to health and self. And today I'm going to highlight somebody. This is the first time I ever highlighted somebody that's not a Black woman. However, in my defense to the culture, she's doing some really great work. She's doing some really great work in exposing the healthcare monopolies right now. So this is more of like a current event, women in leadership topic. And we're highlighting Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's called AOC. Well, she's referred to as AOC because I guess her name is long. She is in her bag. I don't think I paid this much attention to what she's been saying, the cases that she's been trying to build against insurance companies and the monopolies until now. And so when I started looking up into what her connection is, she's been working. Her biggest thing is universal health care. And in this world, it's hard to conceptualize that type, especially in the United States, that type of care, because we always looking to make a buck. Somebody somewhere is always looking to make a buck and capitalize off of our unhealthy ways. So she is speaking publicly, targeting and speaking out against pharmacy benefit managers. So in my profession, that's who we deal with mostly. Beforehand, the PBMs or pharmacy benefit managers played a smaller part in the healthcare billing. And I know we all know of like in big insurance companies like United Healthcare, that may ring a bell. Blue Cross Blue Shield, that may ring a bell. Well, they have these PBMs now, pharmacy benefit managers, who are like the middlemen who have came on the scene, and they soaking up all the money. And since they found that there is money in that, now it's succumbed to all like the big monopoly. So I want to talk about the work that she's done since 2023. She highlighted that PBMs as an anti-competitive middleman, because they just they don't really do nothing. But because they're an entity, these big companies can buy them out and really create higher copays for people who have to take medication that they need to live with, blood thinners and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of copay issues and billing issues. And I hate to include how what's his name, Luigi, ended up unaliving that United Healthcare CEO, but that's the link that people out here in the world are going to try to get better healthcare. So I like the work that she's doing in exposing these back end deals with the PBM. So let me keep on going just real quick. In 2003, she highlighted them and she criticized how they drive up drug list prices to capture larger corporate rebates. In February 2025, she fiercely condemned a last-minute blockade of major PBM reform legislation. She publicly accused billionaire Elon Musk of killing a bipartisan drug pricing reform bill. Again, when you don't live a healthy lifestyle and you have to take medication, or you have some type of genetic situation where you have to take medication, or you have health issues, you end up in this line of exploitation. And then recently, she went viral during a House Health Subcommittee hearing, and she aggressively grilled CVS Healthcare. I know we all heard of CVS. And she's heavily focusing on vertical integration and market monopolies with PBMs like CVS Caremark, physical retail pharmacies, and arguing that they're basically owning every tier of the pipeline, and it's causing people to have to deal with higher prices and copays and stuff like that. So I know we all, we used to see like Right Way. We used to see a lot of other Brookshire's, Albertsons used to have smaller pharmacies. But now all those big giants are kind of like bottom up. So now you don't see Target Pharmacy anymore. You see CVS, So she's speaking out and highlighting the exploitation that's going on. Please take a look at her content, Google her, and tap into some of the conversations that she's having as a representative, talking about these exploitation that's happening on the back end. It's something important I think we should be focusing on, or at least listening to in the background, especially people who have health conditions, chronic health conditions. Your grandmama got a health condition. This is something that's important because it's contributing to the price of insurance, specifically pharmacy coverage and medical insurance. So I didn't really want to go too far into that, but I did want to bring her to your focus so that you can see what she's talking about. And this is Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And that's my contribution to the conversation. Happy to have the opportunity to highlight this conversation health-wise with me and Dr. Grady on here. And then to be able to highlight a brown woman, I do that from time to time, but this much. Can y'all see that? That's much. That much. Normally I highlight my sisters, but today you get this here. You see that? That's what you get. So thank y'all for tuning into the woman segment today.
All right, we definitely thank you for sharing that information. I'm definitely I've heard a little bit about what was going on with that. I hadn't really dug too far deep, so I appreciate you for sharing some of that information. I actually kind of forgot about it. Kind of made me want to go back and start looking a little bit more into that.
I heard Amazon was taking over pharmacy.
They have a pharmacy. Yeah. They
Hmm.
even have doctor's offices
Yeah.
or
Huh?
such.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Amazon got their own
Amazon.
pharmacy. Yeah, Amazon. Yeah,
They do.
That's
that what
they
Amazon do.
that
They buy small companies and take over. Yeah.
Yeah.
wow.
So I mean, back in the day, you can remember mom and pop pharmacies. Those barely exist anymore.
Yeah,
You
we
know,
used to
because they
have
can't
them. We used to
afford
have.
to open.
Hmm. Yep.
Because these
We used to
PBMs
have
are
them
like,
here.
okay, instead of us, because pharmacy used to be a profitable industry. Now it's not because the PBMs are like, we are here, we about to take all the money. So now it left retail pharmacies susceptible to being bought out, rebranded, insurance premiums to go up, prior authorization. There's so much, but she's doing a really good job of breaking it down. So even if you're not familiar with it, she's painting the picture real plain for the American people.
Mm.
So take care of yourself.
Right.
Health is wealth for real. I'm with Dr. Grady on that. Health is wealth. Your mind,
Oh,
your heart,
I
your
got a question.
soul.
I got a question for you, Dr. Wade and Dr. Grady, since y'all in the
Okay.
healthcare field. My question is, I know we got to go, but I gotta ask. So it's what I heard. I just want y'all to confirm or so like when you go to medical school, right? Say you go to pharmacy school, you go to medical school, but then when you graduate and start practicing, like the insurance companies, they have at the end of the day, they have the last say. So right, so if you go to a pharmacist, I heard it's like illegal for a pharmacist to prescribe fruits and veggies. Like you have to get a prescription drug, or I don't know what that looks like in Dr. Grady's field, but I just wanted to ask the insurance companies, do they have the last say, or do they regulate the healthcare field? Like, you can't prescribe this, you can't do this no more, you can't use um what is the little vibration, the little music. They used to use sound to heal people, but they don't do that no more. So can you confirm or deny?
Okay. I will say that's very much so a huge part of it, um, along with finances. There are things that's like, well, if we don't find this necessary, you pay it out of pocket, but it still has to make as a provider, you still got to do your due diligence because if something happened to that person, it's on you. But um, yeah, they even the things that you do in the office, you gotta make sure it's built the right way and things because insurance will be like, who told you to do that? I mean, so I will say that's partially why I this is naturopathy. It's kind of set up a little differently. There's a little bit more nuance that we can go into. I don't know if Dr. Wade, if you have a
I don't
thought
want to
with
get y'all in trouble now. You ain't got to. You ain't got to.
I
yeah.
mean, 100% because they have formulary, especially on the pharmacy end. I'm not sure what it looks like on the medical billing side, but Dr. Pierce is right. You have to bill because what they will do is they'll pay for the claim up front and then do an audit and take their money back if they don't like how you build something. And they gatekeep. So if your doctor wants you to have this high dollar iron infusion, they don't understand why you just want to take iron over the counter. So you have to prove to them why certain procedures are medically necessary. So now part of that is good because it does create a soft system of checks and balances. But ultimately, if the insurance, let's say you need a procedure and the insurance don't cover it, the likelihood of you getting that procedure is low because who's gonna pay out of pocket? Who can afford to pay out of pocket? So in that sense, yeah, they do control the show because if they don't cover it, then you likely not gonna get it unless you work out some plan with the doctor's office. And that's what they're saying now, putting people on the fact that you can ask for cash pay at your doctor's office and have them not even bill your insurance. And that actually give you a cheaper situation. So there
Yeah.
are options, but right now there's so many millions of people on medication for various reasons. And I see lots of high copays and people feel like, well, I got to take this to live. $500, $600, 3-month supply or 1 month or deductible because of the insurance and stuff like that. And now they can't
Mhm.
afford that medicine. Insulin is a big deal. So to your point, Ladarius, yes. And I'm sure we may have to jump back on here and run it one time. Me and who knows what type of content me and Dr. Perry is gonna create in terms of what you're asked, those questions that you're asking about. And we appreciate those because we don't really get people that are interested in that. That's what I see. Like people are like, oh, Dr. Perry should be reading, should be doing this. But then when I start talking about medicine, it'd be like, so like I do want to open the floor for that type of medical pharmaceutical conversations, especially in the future. So appreciate that question, Ladarius.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, that concludes season 4, episode 7, Knowledge, Health, and Self, featuring our special guest, Dr. Paris Grady. Again, we want to thank you for allowing uh, us to have a conversation with you today, and carving out an hour or two of your time just to talk to us and be in our space. Um, we appreciate it. Anytime you want to come back, you just let us know. Um, you can come back. I'm even thinking about something where maybe before the end of the year, maybe coming back and being a special host. You know what I'm saying, on the show as we talk about various things. So that's just something that if you want to do, because I like your energy. Like I said, you Dr. Wade twin. That's you Dr.
Exactly.
Wade too. So I mean, I'm telling you, it's crazy. It's crazy. But I enjoyed you. You know what I'm saying? And this is what this podcast is about. It's about having intellectual conversation. It's about literature, because literature is important. It's about writing. It's about comprehension. You know what I'm saying? It's about informing others. So you definitely fit this space. So anytime you want to come back, and we're definitely gonna be reaching out for you pretty soon to be a special host on one of the episodes before season 4 definitely ends. So there's something if you're interested in doing. I just wanted to throw it out here. Throw it out there
I
to
just
you.
feel like I feel so honored. I'm so happy I was invited, that y'all like reached out. And y'all my people. I'm gonna just say that. Every single one of y'all, Kofi, you inspire me so much. I watch your content. I look at your bookshelf, and I'm like, man, I strive to be like this brother in the future. Yes, and then Darius, everything that he says just comes out just beautifully like butter. And the question,
Yeah.
And
everything.
he used to not be wanting to come to the front. Can believe it or
Listen,
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
I can't
Welcome to the
imagine.
front.
I can't
All
imagine what a
praise to
world.
y'all. All praise to y'all.
I
Appreciate y'all.
can't imagine what a world would be like without a Ladarius. We need a listen, like everything about what you ask and what you say, whether it was this podcast or a different one I watch, amazing. Or book club, amazing. And my twin sister, my sister,
Mm.
I don't even know where to start. I can't wait. I can't wait for what life has in store. I love your hair, to your style, to your bookshelf, to your So I'm honored. Thank you so much,
all
guys.
right.
See you
All
next time.
right.
We appreciate you, Dr. Paris. Peace, good
Yes,
people.
indeed. Yes, peace. We'll see y'all next time, y'all, on the Griots Podcast. We thank those who came in, popped in, those who stayed, and those who will look at this later on in the archives, y'all. Peace and power, and we are out of here.
Go, Grio. Go, Grio. Go, Grio. Yeah, I'm in the city, yeah. I'm in the spot, in the vicinity. I'm the hottest up in the city, yeah, it really is. I studied the ones that was the realest, the illest, that invented that. Talking about Griots, West African passages on the street flow. Adios, Neo, they forget about the Afro-Latino. Rock their traditions from Africa's West Central. Let's raise a toast to the ancestors of old. For the knowledge comes in the form of a griot, in the form of a griot.
Don't play with the bubbles.
All right, y'all.